morning Year 3, welcome to your reading video for Monday the 1st of March. So this is a video for you if you've got the Key Stage 1 English reading booklet. Now today we're going to be moving on to pages 19 and 20 in our reading booklets, and I know on Friday with Miss Morgan you completed the 2 pages before that, 17 and 18, where you started to look at a non-fiction text based on the circus. So we're going to carry that on today and complete pages 19 and 20. Now before I move on, I just want to say a big well done to Macy J and William. Your reading work I spotted last week was fantastic, both of you, so keep up the brilliant work. We're very proud. So before we start looking at our learning for today, let's get ourselves warmed up. And I have got a synonym match-up for us to do today. Now I know you've done some synonym warm-ups with both Miss Charlesworth and Miss Morgan for your reading, so I think we're going to be really good at this. But let's have a quick recap of what a synonym is. So a synonym, that's a word that we could use that means the same as another word. Now they're not spelt the same and they don't sound the same, but they mean the same thing. They've got the same definition, okay? So I've got 2 columns here of different words, okay? So if we read the first column, I've got enormous, happy, angry, small and nasty. But in this yellow box column, I've got tiny, furious, awful, gigantic and delighted. I've got lots of adjectives. Now you're going to do a synonym match-up. So in this column, I've got one word that should match up with another word in this column because they mean the same thing, okay? So I'm going to have a go at the first one for you. I've got the word enormous. Now when we think of something being enormous, we think of it being big, okay? So I'm looking for a word in this column that means the same as enormous. Tiny, no, furious, awful, gigantic, that means the same as enormous, so I'm going to match those words up. They're synonyms for each other, they mean the same thing. Now when you have wrote all these words down on your whiteboard and matched up the synonyms, so happy, there'll be a word in this box that means the same as happy, same for angry and small and nasty. I've left this box blank here, okay? Because as an extra challenge, you can add some more synonyms on. So if I was doing it for this one, I've got enormous and gigantic mean the same thing, and we know that means big, or another synonym for enormous and gigantic is huge. So I'm going to write the adjective huge, that's a describing word, and I can link that up. So I've got 3 words there that mean the same thing. So I'm just going to make the board a little bit bigger so you can copy these down onto your whiteboards and start to match up my synonyms, okay? Don't forget to take a picture, Year 3, and send them in because we'd love to see all of your fabulous work. So pause the video now and have a go at my synonym match-up. Right, so hopefully you've just completed my warm-up challenge and matched up all the synonyms, the words that mean the same things. So let's have a look at our learning question for today. It says, can I continue to answer a range of vocabulary and inference questions based on a text? Now I've used the word continue because you started to look at vocabulary and inference questions last week with Miss Morgan, and I know we were fabulous at them, Year 3. So we're going to continue to have a look at those types of questions. Now let's just recap. What does vocabulary and inference mean? Now vocabulary, that's just a posh word for words. So we're going to look at questions that involve words in the text. We'll be focusing on the words that have been used. Now inference, this is where you've got to pop your thinking cap on, okay? And we become a bit of a detective where we search for evidence and clues in the text, and we use those evidence and clues to make our own judgment, to think carefully about something, and we make our own opinion, but we use the clues in the text to help us form our own idea and opinion, okay? So we're going to start off today by looking at vocabulary questions, and they're word questions, focusing on words. Now I've got a little text here where I'm going to demonstrate some of those word questions. So my text says, Yasmin looked out the window to see the rain pouring down. She was heartbroken when she realised she couldn't play on her springy trampoline. So that's my text, and now I've got some vocabulary questions to answer on that text. So my first question is, find one word that means the same as bouncy. So we're looking for a synonym for bouncy, a word that means the same thing as bouncy. So we're going to use our reading skill of skimming and scanning, because I've read that text once, to find a word that means the same as bouncy. Now if you think about the word bouncy, for bouncing, we're jumping up and down, okay? So think carefully about that word. You may have spotted it in my text already. So I'm going to skim and scan. Oh, the rain was pouring down. She was heartbroken when she realised she couldn't play on her springy trampoline. So I'm going to highlight that in my text, that word, springy, because I know springy means the same as bouncy. That's a synonym for bouncy. And I've found one word, so I'm going to copy it down. Springy. I'm going to copy it and make sure I've got my spelling correct. Okay. So one word that means the same as bouncy is springy. Another similar vocabulary question that you've got in your booklet today is asking you to find and copy a word. Okay. Now my question is asking me to find and copy one word that shows Yasmin was upset. So if someone's upset, they might be crying. The text may say they're crying. It may say they're sad, okay? So let's have a think about other words that we could use for someone being upset, some synonyms. Let's see if we can find one by skimming and scanning. So she looked out the window, the rain was pouring. She was heartbroken when she realised. Heartbroken. Now, if someone's heartbroken, that means they're really upset, they're really sad. So that's a synonym. That's another word that we can use for Yasmin being upset. She was heartbroken that she couldn't go on her trampoline. So I'm going to copy heartbroken from the text. Okay? So what I'd like you to do now is go and get your reading booklets. I'd like you to open your reading booklet on page number 19, okay? And we're going to have a look at that page together. Right, so I've got my page 19. Now remember, we're carrying on with a text that you began reading with Miss Morgan on Friday about the circus, a non-fiction text. So on our first page, we've got vocabulary questions for page 19. Now I'm going to read this short bit of text for you on this page, and then you're going to read the next bit of text on page 20. So you might want to get your pencil or your highlighter out to highlight or underline any keywords you're not too sure of, so you can ask someone at home to help you, or you could look them up yourself on the internet. So you're ready to get your following finger as I read. So the show. When the audience are all in their seats, the show begins. Glaring lights are turned on and a band begins to play. So the glaring lights are beaming down. A person called the ringmaster comes out into the ring to introduce the performers. He wears a long coat and a top hat, and he carries a whip. Right, I've got a next paragraph now with a subheading telling me this paragraph is based on trapeze artists. Let's find out what they are. The trapeze artists climb up high ladders into the very top of the circus tent. They fly through the air, jumping from swing to swing. The trapeze artists wear costumes that sparkle in the light. And you can see the trapeze artists there, high at the top of the tent, flying above the audience who are watching. Okay, so let's have a look at the questions that you've got, the vocabulary questions based on the text that I have just read to you. Number 1, underline one word in the sentence below which shows that the lights in the ring are bright. Okay, so we've been given that sentence from this text. Glaring lights are turned on. Now, if we look at that question carefully, It wants us to underline just one word, okay? One word in this sentence that shows the lights are bright in the ring. So read that sentence carefully. Glaring lights are turned on. Which word means the same as bright in that sentence? Okay. Number 2 then. Find and copy one word which shows that the costumes worn by the trapeze artists are shiny. So this is where you've got to be like Rex the Retriever. You've got to go back to your text. Now it's based on the trapeze artists. So I know this paragraph is about the show. So you're going to find the answer in this paragraph here. Now there's one word in there, in your last paragraph on that page, that shows that the costumes worn by the trapeze artists are shiny. Copy that one word down. When you've completed the answers on this page, come back to the video and we'll have a look at what inference questions are and our next page in the booklet that we're going to be completing. So you should have just completed page 19 in your reading booklet. We're now going to move on to page 20, and before we do, we're going to look at what inference questions are, okay? So I've got a picture here that I'm going to use as my evidence. It's a bit like your text in the book. So in this picture, I can see a child, a boy or a girl, on a carpet that's being pushed into the air. And there's a dog there, and I can see from around the picture, using the evidence that I've been given, they look like they're in the bedroom. It could be this little girl or little boy's bedroom, okay? So I'm going to use this evidence to help me answer these questions. Now, my first inference question is, how is the carpet flying? Now, if I look at this picture, which is my evidence, it doesn't tell me that the carpet's flying, but I can see that the carpet's flying, so I need to use the evidence that I've got. Now, if I look around the carpet, I can see lots of magical sparkly bits coming from the carpet, okay? So I might say, and answer this question, that I think the carpet is flying because it's being pushed up by magic. I think that's how it is happening, okay? And I know this, or I think this, because I can see lots of sparkly, almost like fairy dust coming from the carpet. So I'm using the evidence I've got, okay? Another question on this picture, what is the dog feeling? So if I look at the dog, it doesn't say the dog is happy, the dog is sad. It's not telling me that. But he's got his mouth open wide like this. So how do you think he could be feeling? Can we make that inference? Can we make that judgment using the evidence we've got that his mouth is open wide? If you said shocked, well done. So he's probably feeling very shocked that this carpet's flying with the little girl or the little boy on top of it, okay? So inference is all about reading around the text that you've got, or sometimes the picture you've got, and having a really good think and using that evidence to make a judgment, to make an opinion, okay? So I'd like you to get your page 20 at the ready, and we're going to have a look at the inference questions that you've got today. Right, so you should have your page 20 at the ready, which has got inference questions at the top. Now, in a minute, I'm going to get you to pause the video so you can have a good read of the next 2 paragraphs of our text about the circus. And we've got a paragraph about jugglers, so what the jugglers do at the circus, and a paragraph about the tightrope walkers. So remember, when you're reading this, make sure you use your phonics to decode any tricky words, sound out those words, and you might need to read it a couple of times to really understand it, and underline any words you're not too sure of so you can ask someone at home to help you, okay? So pause the video now to have a read of these 2 paragraphs really carefully. Right, so you should have just paused the video and you've read that text. Now you've got those inference questions where you're going to put your thinking cap on, use the text and make your own judgments about it, okay? Use your own ideas, but get some evidence and clues from the text to help you. So let's have a look at our first question. Why might juggling with flaming torches make the audience gasp? So if the audience are gasping, how do you think they're feeling? If they're going, oh, Okay, they might be a bit scared, a bit shocked. Now, why might juggling with flaming torches make the audience gasp? Why would they do that? Now, you've been given 3 answers. You need to think about the one that's most reasonable. What do you think? Use the text to help you. Might read around, get some evidence from there. So if they're juggling with flaming torches, that means the torches have got fire coming out of them, okay? So will the audience gasp because it's safe? Because throwing flaming torches is a safe thing to do? Is it because it's a dangerous thing to do? Or is it because people like flames? So get that thinking cap on and think really carefully and use the text to help you. Think about those flaming torches. Number 2 then, why do tightrope walkers wear shoes that give them a good grip on the rope? So why do you think? So if you were going to be walking on a rope, think about the shoes you put on. Would you want to put shoes that give you a good grip? That means they can help you stay on the rope. Or would you use shoes that have got a really soft, shiny bottom so you might slip off the rope? Have a good think about that. Use any evidence from the text, so read the tightrope walkers and write your answer down there, okay? So pause the video now and have a go at completing those 2 inference questions on page 20. Now, when you've done that, I've got an extra challenge for you, okay? I've got an all-star challenge. So this is an extra challenge if you would like to do it in your purple book. So I've got, can you write a descriptive sentence to match these pictures? And if I make my board a little bit smaller again, you can see I've got 3 pictures there. They're all circus-related pictures. I've got 3 performers on a tightrope. Now you can see that they're actually cycling on a tightrope and balancing someone else on the top. I've got a trapeze artist flying through the sky at the top of the big tent. And then I have got a big circus tent lit up beautifully, sparkling in the dark sky. Okay, you can see that, the dark sky all around it, and it's shining, isn't it, that circus tent? So I'd like you in your purple book to write me a descriptive sentence to match each of these pictures. Now, with a descriptive sentence, we want lots of adjectives, so describing words. Okay, so for the circus tent, I said it's a gigantic or huge circus tent with glaring or shining bright lights. I've used lots of adjectives there to describe it. You might want to use some different sentence openers, so not just doing the, in the circus tent, at the top of the circus tent. And conjunctions, like and or because, you could use them to extend your sentences, okay? So I can't wait to see who can complete my All-Star Challenge in your purple book. Make sure you take a picture and send it in. So good luck with your work today, Year 3. Make sure you complete pages 19 and 20 in your reading booklet, and then you can have a go at my All-Star Challenge. I can't wait to see all of your work.